Hi everyone, Kate here for a book haul. Some Christmas presents, and then I did receive some Christmas money. And I had a list of books that was kind of just for years. There were some that I had been thinking, I want to get that at some point. And I really indulged myself after my very restrained book buying over the past couple of years. So yes, this is the opposite of a book buying confession where I hold up one or two books for you. This is many books, but it just felt really lovely to get a lot of books that I had had on my list for a while. Before I jump into the books, I would just like to take a moment to say that I'm filming this on Wednesday, and it was on Monday that the BookTube community found out that Jennifer Brooks has passed away. It feels so bizarre to say that. I am still very much in shock. I am processing. It just seems utterly impossible. I thought someone was playing a really terrible joke when I saw In Memory with Jennifer's picture go up on Monday. It just is so hard to wrap my brain around. Jennifer was such a special presence on BookTube. She had some of the most unique reading tastes all combined together with her love of Victorian literature, her love for ancient literature, her love for Napoleon and history writing in general. Her love for this year, she read a lot of, she said, unhinged women books. And I just loved how she could read, she loved Dante, and then she could also enjoy just much more modern popular fiction. She just had such a lovely, well-rounded kind of approach to reading, and had such a fun way of talking about it that made, people who have not been around for a long time seem really relevant to today. And just, she was fun. She was really fun. So I'm going to link down below two of my favorite videos from her this Victober, where she talked about people's favorites and least favorite Victorian novels, and just the way that she talks about them. She had the loveliest presence in videos, and there's just going to be a big hole on BookTube. So it's really hit me hard. And if you are grieving too, I am there with you. This is just really, really hard, and it's not the way things are supposed to be. So yeah, I will definitely be processing that. It feels weird to now transition into a book haul after something so tragic has happened. But I do know that Jenny would not want us to just halt all uploading. And yeah, I'm just, it's really, really sad. So, like I said, I am there with you if this has hit you really hard, because it's just hard. It's just hard. That's all there is to it. I do have some lovely books to show you, so I will dive into that. I have a mixture of things. I have some historical fiction, some middle grade, and a fair amount of nonfiction. So the middle grade that I bought, are these the three? I think these are the three. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about two. Okay, let's get everything organized. So first, my family has started doing the book flood Icelandic tradition, where it's in Iceland, it's on Christmas Eve, and everyone receives a book and you read for the rest of the evening, which is just lovely. But with a 5 and 9-year-old in the house, it's not realistic we would read for the rest of the evening. But we do a nice long reading session. And Arthur was given a volume of Garfield comic strips. He is obsessed with Garfield. He just loves Garfield so much. And then I get to pick out the books. So it's really, really fun. And so for my, for Peter, I gave him, or rather, okay, I should say, for my husband, I gave him the first Septimus Heap book, Magyk. And then for Peter, I gave him the second Septimus Heap book, Flyte. Peter had read the first one and really enjoyed it. And these are ones that I just want to live in our home library. My husband read the first one. He did enjoy it. He didn't love it. He read the second one. He did enjoy it. He didn't love it. There are certain elements of the plot that he feels are lacking, and he's hoping they will happen, and I'm hoping they will happen as well. So I am 272 pages into Flyte. I started it. I'm absolutely loving it. I love the series. I love this one just as much. It's historical fantasy, and Septimus Heap is the seventh son of a seventh son. He's missing for many years, and he's very special because if you are a seventh son of a seventh son, then you are going to have very strong magical powers. So he is key to kind of the well-being of this kingdom. At the point in the story when the story starts, magic is completely outlawed. And anyone who does have magical abilities automatically has green eyes. So the people that have magical abilities then have to go underground because immediately upon seeing them and their green eyes, they're outed. So just absolutely loving this, and Flyte just as much. There's also a missing princess that is part of the plot, and she and Septimus Heap are very much intertwined with one another. It's whimsical, it's charming, it's eventful, it is cozy, it is surprising, it has twists of turns, and I love the very charming kind of magic that is involved in it. There's charms like chocolate charms where you can turn anything into chocolate, and so excited. And I'm loving this so much, I think I just want this for our home library. I think I might buy one book a month, which would be such a treat this year, and enjoy it with Peter. Peter really liked the second one as well. So now I'm the only one in the house that hasn't read Flyte. So I need to finish it so we can all talk about it. And okay, then I keep hearing about Jean Little, a Canadian children's author. So I got the Jean Little collection, which contains different dragons, lost and found, and one to grow on. Tragically, there is an issue with my copy, and it doesn't contain, I think, lost and found. It has one of these printed twice. I can't remember which one. So I have to decide if it's worth the trouble of mailing this and then ordering a new copy. We'll see what I end up doing with this. I might just keep it. I want to see how much I like the writing. If I really like her writing, then I'm going to return it this weekend when I have to go to the post office. But it seems like it could be children's writing that I would really like. Then I have just fallen so in love with Carol Ryrie Brink's writing after Caddy Woodlawn, and then the Family Grandstand duology that I loved so much. Winter Cottage, which I read for the first time last winter, and I loved it. And then I just reread it in December, and I loved it even more the second time. And The Pink Motel, which I read during middle grade March and gave 5 stars to because I loved it so much. So I have now gotten The Highly Trained Dogs of Professor Petit. Professor Petit has 5 dogs and has a traveling dog show. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in this, but it looks really fun. I think I want to read this during middle grade March. It looks just so full of fun. And I do also own Baby Island by her, and I want to get to that this year. Then one that I got on a complete whim, and that is Winterbound by Margery Williams Bianco. This won the Newbery in 1936, and it is about a family of 4 siblings who, due to different circumstances, are on their own for a winter at their farmhouse in Vermont. And it's their first time living out in the countryside. They have no electricity, no indoor plumbing, and so they are roughing it. And it's just really full of coziness and warmth, seeing the siblings all working together, and just cozied up during the winter time. And it was an altogether delightful read. I read it as soon as I got it, and it was really, really lovely. So really happy with my book that I got on a whim. Now, my friend Daryl talked about William Horwood's fantasy writing in his Duncton Wood series, which is essentially like The Wind in the Willows as an adult fantasy series. And I really want more fantasy that I will enjoy, because when I like it, I really like it. But I have been unsuccessful with several different series. The library did not have his books, so I went ahead and I ordered the first 3 in the series, and the main characters in the series are moles. So not my typical kind of animal that I would gravitate towards being featured in a story. But I am delighted to say that I am 122 pages into this. I've just been reading a chapter a day because I very easily get overwhelmed by fantasy. Just doing my chapter a day, and I'm really, really enjoying this. It's kind of a land disenchanted. There's supernatural powers and abilities that are not being utilized, and it's like the magic in the land needs to be reawakened. And it's really, really enjoyable. And there is a big bad villain mole named Mandrake. So yes, I'm really excited about this. So I got the first one, which is Duncton Wood. The second one, which is Duncton Quest. And then I thought I ordered paperback for all of them because if it's going to be a big, thick book, I prefer paperback. Hardback came for this. So this is like a coffee table book, Duncton Found. So I think there's 6 total in the series, but I just got the first 3. If it's really bugging me, I can try to find paperback of this at some point. But for now, I'll just keep it. It's fine. It's functional. Okay. Several more series that I got. Let's do this one. I heard a few years ago, Bookish Princess talking about Elizabeth Cadell. And she seems in the kind of D.E. Stevenson, O. Douglas kind of tradition. And ever since then, I have not forgotten the name Elizabeth Cadell, and so I treated myself to the Wayne family trilogy. So this first one is called The Lark Shall Sing. This next one is called The Blue Sky of Spring. And this last one is called 6 Impossible Things. And it just sounds altogether lovely. A family that is down on their luck. They find a home to all live in together. And we will see what happens in this trilogy. Also, I love the biographical information of Elizabeth Cadell that is on the back. She was a widow after being married for 10 years, and she had 2 children, and she needed to find a way to support her family. So she started writing. And here are some of those books still around today. So the publishing house that put this out, because they're trying to put out, I think, all of hers, The Friendly Air Publishing. I think it's just devoted to Elizabeth Cadell, which I think is so fabulous. So yes, I will let you know what I think of this. And then Simon from the podcast Tea or Books has talked about Edith Pargeter's Heaven Tree trilogy, which is also aka Ellis Peters. So in this one, she's writing though as Edith Pargeter, and it's The Heaven Tree is the first one. Then The Green Branch. I love the gold foil. You can get this all in one bind up, but I like the idea of having 3 separate ones. And then The Scarlet Seed is the final book in the trilogy. And I think it's about the rebuilding of a church in Shropshire next to Parfois Castle. The tree of stone became an arrow of light, but as it flowered, darkening shadows presaged jealousy, pitiless revenge, and death. So I think it's going to be really just full of just beautiful religious imagery. There's going to be shocking things that happen, intriguing characters, and cannot wait to sink my teeth into this one. Then over on Bookstagram, Caro's Bookcase has talked about Marsha Willet being a Rosamund Pilcher read-alike, and I can always use more of that in my life. Yes, please. I really think that the TV series, As Time Goes By, is like what it feels like to watch. If Rosamund Pilcher's atmosphere was a TV show, it would be As Time Goes By. So there's a series, I think there's either 4 or 5 in the series, but on Caro's Bookcase, she said that these 3, the first 3, are the best part of it. So I thought, I'm just going to trust her judgment and just do the first 3. Some of them are definitely more worn looking than the others, but it is okay. So the first one is called Looking Forward. Then there is Winning Through. And then the final one is called Holding On. And I think it is about a family that the parents die and the grandmother has to take in and raise the 3 orphans from that family. And I think you watch those children grow up and get married. I think that's what I get. So I just love the idea of having something that will feel similar to Rosamund Pilcher to read. The book I got for myself during the book flood night is called The Seeing Garden by Ginny Kubitz Moyer. This is historical fiction. It is set in the year 1910, and there is a bit of a marriage of convenience that happens. And this young woman, she really thinks her life is over now that she's committed to this marriage of convenience. But there is kind of this, I think, supposed to be enchanted garden that's on the property. She moves to this beautiful estate in California. And so I think beautiful things are going to happen in her life because of the garden. That's kind of the sense that I got about it. I got 67 pages into it. Really enjoyed the writing so far, so I will be continuing with this. And then Peter got me The Murders at Fleet House by Lucinda Riley. Lucinda Riley, I came to know about her writing from her Seven Sisters series, which I'm still in the middle of. I've read 4 out of the 8. Sadly, Lucinda Riley died before she was able to finish the series, and her son, Harry, picked up at where she left off, and he wrote the final 2 books. She gave him copious notes for what, she wanted to happen in the rest of the series, and he finished it for her. He completed it. So then, a little while after she passed away, Harry announced that they would be publishing, after she died, The Murders at Fleet House. And this, Lucinda Riley, she told her son, this was completed, actually. And it was her book that she was the most excited for people to know about. But she didn't want to publish it in the midst of the Seven Sisters series being published. And so she told him, will you please, make sure this gets published. So here it is, and I am really intrigued. So there is a boarding school called Fleet House, and there is a student that is murdered, and I think the staff tried to cover it up, and then decades later it comes out or something like that. So I've not read any mystery writing by Lucinda Riley, and I'm very intrigued. Okay, then I have a bunch of nonfiction to show you. First, one that was a gift from my very sweet friend Louise. And she got me Morning Devotions by Susanna Spurgeon, Free Grace and Dying Love. And I am really, really excited to have this. It also says it includes The Life of Susanna Spurgeon by Charles Ray. So Susanna Spurgeon was the wife of Charles Spurgeon, and she lived for most of her life with a chronic illness. I'm not sure what chronic illness. Yes, so it doesn't say. And I am just really, really delighted to have this in my hands, to have a copy and have it as part of my morning reading once I finish the other one that I'm currently reading. So delighted to have this. Then if you watched my most recent reading vlog, you will have seen me talk about reading Lenten Lands, My Childhood with Joy Davidman and C.S. Lewis by Douglas Gresham. So this is written by the stepson of C.S. Lewis, and it's about his just abounding love for his mother and what a special lady she was, about her time being ill, about when she fell in love with C.S. Lewis, and then after she died and him being raised by C.S. Lewis and his brother, or Jack and Warnie, as he called them, and just how fond he is of all of them. So I am 74 pages into this and really enjoying it as well. So I am very divided between a fair amount of books. Then a book to expand my classical music repertoire is Classical Music to Enjoy Day by Day, Year of Wonder by Clemency Burton Hill. And it's got such a cool format. It's just 1 page of writing about 1 piece of music for each day. And then you listen to that piece of music on that given day. There's 366 because it came out in a leap year. And I thought this is perfect because 2024 is a leap year. Very excited to have this very gentle project of learning about more classical music, because I would like to enjoy more than I currently do. And then I would like to work on the ability of praying. That's something that I feel like is lacking in my spiritual life. So I got a few books. One my sister gave me for Christmas, Fount of Heaven, Prayers of the Early Church. And this is such a cool book where Augustine features a lot. But Eusebius of Caesarea, stuff from the Apostolic Constitutions, John Chrysostom, Clement of Alexandria, Hilary of Poitiers, Basil of Caesarea, and Cyril of Jerusalem. And there's a decent amount of martyrs from the early Christian church. Christians were really treated very brutally in those early church years. And in other parts of the world, they're still treated brutally. So I'm very thankful to have freedom and not worry about my own physical safety because of the way that I worship. So yes, this seems like it can be a really lovely kind of addition to my morning routine. And then Praying Like Monks, Living Like Fools, An Invitation to the Wonder and Mystery of Prayer by Tyler Staton. I read some samples of this and I absolutely loved his writing style. It just seems like it could be a really illuminating book and just a kind of hands-on guide also from the looks of the end, which I liked. I wanted a hands-on guide. Then this one is written by a monk. So if anyone knows about prayer, it is monks. Lectio Divina, The Renewing the Ancient Practice of Praying the Scriptures by M. Basil Pennington. I thought this sounded really intriguing. It's just a little short gem of a book and 161 pages. So very, very short and hopefully very accessible. Then I loved Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortland. And I'm currently finishing up a reread of it, and I got Deeper, Real Change for Real Sinners by Dane C. Ortland. This is basically addressing your union with Christ and how you can grow and develop in your faith. How do Christians grow? Few question the call of the Bible to grow in godliness, but the answer to exactly how this happens is often elusive. I just thought this sounded really intriguing. My husband got me 2 books for Christmas. First is This Homeward Ache, How Our Yearning for the Life to Come Spurs on Our Life Today. And the blurb on the back, I feel like I have to read it. That sudden yearning you feel when you see a sunset, that pang of longing you sense deep in your bones when you attend a funeral or even gaze at a poignant piece of art. Those experiences that sting you to attention in moments of beauty, peace, or sorrow, the ones you can sense are offering you a twinkling, piercing hint of heaven. Are these meant to do more than point you to eternity? What if they could enable you to live more fully on the way there? I just absolutely love the sound of that. It has kind of echoes of This Beautiful Truth by Sarah Clarkson. So I will report back what I end up thinking of this one. And then a few years back, I read and loved The Shepherd's Life by James Rebanks. He is a Yorkshire shepherd, and so his wife has now written a book, The Farmer's Wife, My Life in Days by Helen Rebanks. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. I am so excited to read this. I just love the idea of hard work in the home and in the pastures, just being given the proper dues that it is. I am someone who works in the home and I find it very rewarding. So I would love to have kind of poetic writing written about that. And it does contain a fair amount of recipes, and I have an unbelievable amount of food sensitivities. So food writing is not always as fun to read about. However, I'm still really looking forward to this, and hopefully there's enough aside from food writing that I can really enjoy it. Okay, now the last book in this marathon is Jacob's Room is Full of Books, A Year of Reading by Susan Hill. I could not believe this came in such beautiful condition. So I loved Howard's End is on the Landing by Susan Hill, and it's a year where she decided not to buy any books and kind of just searching through her library and finding books that she had completely loved and just forgotten about and revisiting them and just savoring them all over again. This is written sequentially throughout the year. So yeah, just each month is given its own chapter and the reading that she did in that year. And her writing is beautiful. So I think this is just going to be cozy and full of bookish love and give me some book recommendations of book titles that I did not know about. I still have a whole list of Susan Hill recommended from Howard's End is on the Landing. Yes. So that is my big old book haul. I hope that you enjoyed it. And let me know down below if you have read any of these. And yeah, that's the last of my big book buying for a long time. I will be buying books here and there throughout the year, but no big book hauls like this. I don't think, though, I am going to keep up with the book buying limit again. It's not sparking joy for this year. So I'm not going to go crazy and buy tons and tons of books, but I also am not going to have quite as severe limits with my book buying. Okay. I think that's all I had to say, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye!